So I am Angelia, and I'm joined today by Tanya. She's our beauty and personal care analyst based in Mumbai. Over the last few months, we have been researching brightening trends in facial skincare, and today we're going to take you through some of our key findings. But first, let me talk to you about MINTEL Reports India. This is an expert-led interactive research tool with exclusive consumer data. We give you expert recommendations to help you identify opportunities and to make better decisions faster. Our findings today are based on a sample size of 3,000 consumers across metro, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 cities throughout the main 4 regions. And we're conducting research in 6 local languages to ensure that you have the data that you can rely on. Each report tells you how major trends impacts India, and we hone in on the regional differences from socioeconomic groups to demographics such as age, gender, and household composition. So back in March, when my team started researching, the whitening category really looked very differently. Our hypothesis actually began when we thought about consumers understanding whitening, brightening, glow, and fresh as different and distinct. Now, these are sometimes considered the same, all pointing towards skin tone management. But our take was that the consumer understood it in different ways. So we tested these terms on the in-field, and we tested that if they were interchangeable and or if they were synonyms for the name for the same function. We did this through the lens of ingredients through which the consumer is increasingly evaluating products. In June, of course, we know players such as J&J, HUL, and L'Oreal all announced that they were taking action to reorientate their whitening portfolio. HUL rebranded Fair and Lovely to Glow and Lovely. Now, MINTEL recognizes that we need to balance that cultural sensitivity and be mindful of the ongoing justice and social justice conversations. So for the purposes of today's webinar, we will reference brightening as a category. While whitening, you will hear, is being phased out with the consumer, but you'll hear us talk about it as a benefit in reference to the historical category. We've also preserved these terms where it is used in product names and description claims. So let's start with the drivers. What are the forces of change in the last 12 months? Now, MINTEL's product data shows us that whitening has been on a slow decline for a few years now, and brightening and glow are mainstreaming claims. Glow especially has seen an uptick in the last quarter of 2019, jumping 5 percentage points, and now it's neck to neck with brightening claims. In our exclusive consumer research, consumers were resounding. Only 65% of them had not used any whitening or brightening products in the last 12 months. Penetration for face cream and cleansers were the highest in the category at 18 and 16%. Yet newer formats such as eye gels and serum were poorly penetrated. Skin bleach, we know, was already on a sharp decline for the last few years, but it still stood at about 10%. The penetration rates really reflect the winds of change that are pushing the category to evolve. Whitening, though it seems to be a stable category, has been evolving and has always been evolving. Its current stage is probably its 3rd phase, moving from skin bleaching to skin lightening and to brightening and glow. Now, this is set to continue as consumers awaken to self-empowerment and demand brands to help them define their own beauty standards. So in the next piece, I'm just going to show you a video that will explain a little bit about what's happening in India.
फोटोशॉप में भी मेहनत करना पड़ेगा तभी फोटो मैगजीन में छपेगा जितने भी बोला तेरी अंडर टेलिंग बहुत है पर तेरे के सुपाम देते नहीं स्टॉक है कला छुट्टी हो तेरा रंग तेरा लॉस है तो यहाँ पे थोड़ा वही जाएगा टॉप पे बस का नहीं कहीं और तू ध्यान दे टैलेंट तो छोड़ के लगता किसी काम पे दिखाने का हम और लगे तो उसको भी बोलने का
So as you can see, we've got celebrities who are participating a lot. You've got Gulpanag and Sayani who come together to build together to do this video. But really, consumers are also calling out on hypocrisy for brands and celebrities. They understand that a name change is only cosmetic and that formulations are being kept the same. For example, HUL Fair and Lovely keeps the same branding, colors, and formulation while only changing the word glow. Product has been slow to hit the shelves, and those that have still carry Fair as part of its transitionary branding. For consumers, this is simply not enough. We have to admit that an element of this activity has been led by global events, for example, like Black Lives Matter. So some of the industry has written off this activity as something that MNCs are doing as part of their diversity and discrimination practices. But it is of MINTEL's opinion that this movement is not to be ignored. There is a deep change happening, but it's not an easy change. It will take tremendous effort to reposition whitening brands as skin health brands. Brightening accounts for a third of the facial skincare market. So brands must move quickly to safeguard this massive contributor. Over to you, Tanya.
Thank you, Angela. So we know that Indian consumers have been taking a stand against the whitening and lightening narrative. In fact, the Dark is Beautiful campaign was launched many years ago. And as a result of that, there have been an evolution of claims been seen in the category. So like Angela mentioned, we've seen whitening, we've seen brightening, now we're seeing glow. And unlike other Asian countries where glow really translates to natural radiance, because in our country, it's being seen as a progression from brightening, it's still really falling under skin color claims. And today, consumers, there's a higher desire among them for better looking skin or healthy looking skin. And thus, brands really need to look towards skin health claims and really move away from skin color claims to retain the category size. We even did a consumer research study where we asked consumers what are the different characteristics they associate with healthy skin. And while fair or white did appear on the top 5 characteristics they associate with healthy skin, fresh was the leading characteristic they associated with healthy skin. So this really tells us that there is scope for brands to move away from skin color and instead focus on skin health claims like fresh. India is opening up to the inclusivity conversation. As you can see, unlike other countries like China, where still 51% of the consumers are interested in purchasing products with whitening effects, in India, 50% of the consumers have said that they would be interested in purchasing products that provide shades for all skin tones. And this is really also in line with the MINTEL trend, My Beauty, My Rules, which talks about how consumers today are setting their own beauty standards, embracing their own beauty looks. They're realizing that the one-size-fits-all concept doesn't really work. And that's why, for example, beauty influencer Huda Kattan's 4-filter foundation range was so popular and did really well because it spoke about how it had nearly 30 shades of foundation, not just for women, but even for men. Even closer home, we're seeing this conversation on social media. So, for example, we recently came across a homegrown brand, Dr. Shades, take to social media to talk about how there should be shades for all skin tones. Quickly summing up what we just discussed in the key trends and drivers section was really about how MNCs have started dropping names and claims from their Asian portfolio, more as a response to Black Lives Matter. And we did see a lot of brands and celebrities get trolled on social media platforms. Also, brands are coming under the spotlight as kind of having a double standard because though they're changing their name or claims, the formula is more or less remaining the same. Also, influencer credibility is coming under question, and consumers will start demanding more proof or evidence against the claims they're making. And this will also move consumers towards using safer ingredients like natural.
So now that you've seen a little bit about what's happening in the brightening category, we wanted to take some time now to address some of the unusual times that we're living in. COVID has changed our world, and it is one of the strongest forces of change that we've seen in our lifetimes. In a matter of days, we were confined to homes, we adjusted our hygiene rituals, and we started to see a different approach into how we would make our purchases. I'm going to highlight two very distinct ways that COVID has impacted brightening. The first is dry skin. Excessive washing, hand sanitizers, and protective masks are causing more than normal skin issues. Appearance is, of course, less of a motivator today than it was before, but consumers will still continue to buy staple products such as face washes. This is where innovation needs to concentrate on in the coming months for brightening. It also needs to address hydration strongly as a secondary benefit, as these claims will become triggers. Another large change was the shift to online commerce. Now, Kirana shops remained a key retail point for Indians during this period, but purchasing behavior on Amazon and Nykaa were also gaining ground, but they are significantly different. Heavily dependent on flash sales and promotions, and what this will do, it will change a consumer because they will want to always buy on discount, and they'll be more unwilling to spend full price. So some of our strategies that we recommend to return consumers to full price buying is that brands should think about online engagement opportunities in live streaming as well as live consultations. And then also think about 2-hour deliveries. This is now possible, especially if we start to work within the food delivery infrastructures. So let's move on now to what consumers want. In this section, we're going to discuss what our research showed of new consumer needs in the brightening category. Tanya, over to you.
Thank you. So like Angelia mentioned, the whitening product penetration is at 35% today. And what we're seeing is that the whitening demand is really diminishing. And in fact, there is increasing consumer desire for skin health, for better or healthier looking skin. And this is especially being seen with the Gen Z consumers, that is your young consumers aged 18 to 24. So while 34% of them have still associated fair or white with healthy skin, 43% of them have associated fresh with healthy skin. This really tells us that brands can start shifting their communication and targeting it towards skin health with focus on freshness. Even when talking about glow, there is a potential for brands to actually align it with skin health terms like healthy or healthy looking, and actually that we move glow away from skin color towards skin health. We have two examples here, brands who have successfully done that. So we have the Innisfree Green Tea Seed Serum, which uses claims like dermatologically tested, hydration, and healthy looking glow. And we have the Real Red Ginseng Mask Pack from Vietnam, which also talks about restoring damaged skin that's caused due to environmental factors, again giving a skin a healthy glow. Now coming to some examples of how freshness or fresh is being introduced in claims. So we have the Herbs and Pure Instant Glow and Detan Face Pack, which claims to be an Ayurvedic formula enriched with sandalwood for glowing bright and fresh finish. And we have a men's product here, which is the SAM Eco Energy Sun Fluid, which claims to make men's dull skin clear and healthy with a fresh finish. As the skin health conversation gets more popular and strengthens in the country, there's potential for brands to actually capitalize on workout skincare or athleisure skincare. Even in India, we're seeing a lot of consumers focusing a lot more on health, fitness. They're devoting a lot more time to working out. And they're realizing that workout can actually affect the skin. The sweat, the grime can take a toll on your skin. So brands can then capitalize on actually clubbing skin health with workout and introducing a workout skincare line. So formats like face oil, serum, and mask are seeing a higher uptick with the Gen Z. So the experiment with these formats to become more attractive for the Gen Z cohort. So we have a few examples here. We have the Mutha face oil, which is a blend of 22 oils and claims to protect, hydrate, and soothe the skin. And we have the Happy Mask, which also claims to promote a dewy, glowing complexion, leaving skin soothed and hydrated.
So as Tanya mentioned, glow as a claim has mainstreamed. Yet in our research, we found that there's still space for a hero ingredient to claim the crown. Now, this is the age of the intellectual. Ingredients are a way our way consumers understand claims and vice versa. Even though they have similar functions, we found that brightening and whitening have very different ingredient associations. Among Indian consumers, they think of lemons in relation to whitening, but they think of turmeric when it comes to brightening. Glow is a white space with no strong ingredient associations. Even skin tone is something the Gen Z consumer wants to achieve with scientific ingredients. This is very much in line with the rest of the research we found. 49% of 18 to 24-year-olds expect high quality ingredients from their products. 41% of them expect those safety features to be communicated within the product. This speaks to a consumer who respects transparency, and a combination of nature and science can really play out in claims such as even skin tone. Now, as I mentioned before, 28% of Gen Z consumers associate sandalwood to whitening. Now, this probably wouldn't register as surprising a couple of months ago, but increasingly, as whitening falls out of favor, brands need to ask themselves, what is the future for an ingredient so closely associated with it? There is still some mileage left in sandalwood, so brands can explore how to reposition it away from whitening and maybe towards more of some of its more effective claims, such as spot removal. Turmeric, on the other hand, is something that will clearly be exploited as glow grows. The association is very strong, but the newness of glow can be combined with the appeal of turmeric in the wellness arena. The turmeric particularly is trending as a food and wellness ingredient, so it's going to grow a lot more here. This brings me to the point of kitchen staples and home remedies. Now, home remedies has had an interest spike during COVID-19, and the interest for naturals is high among whitening users. About 29% of consumers are interested in that. Fruits and vegetables are also known for their brightening benefits, so this angle can be brought to products. Now, be mindful that you don't have to go down the traditional naturals branding. Here are two examples of how kitchen ingredients are showing up in glow products. It's a really fresh approach that's very appealing, particularly with glow recipes, banana souffle, moisture cream. As you can see, they bring out that natural feeling through its color and shape of the bottle, rather than a very literal application of it. So although this report focuses on facial skincare, we are aware that brightening as a claim is being adopted by other categories. As beauty consumers start to think about beauty in a holistic inside-out approach, this is inevitable. Brightening has been very successful for supplement brands. The one that you see on the left is Blackmores in Thailand. Now they've taken their reputation and they've launched a skin cream for brightening. But equally, we've seen it the other way around, where brightening supplements have had that impact on the consumer. What we've also seen in our color cosmetics research is that glow is trending there as well in highlighting products.
Another story angle we wanted to explore while working on the brightening report was who would really be the influencers for the category, especially in a post-COVID-19 world. And what our data actually told us was that family and friends will continue to be key influencers for the category. So as you can see, 55% of consumers have still selected family and friends as the key influencers. And this is followed by celebrities. So brands can still use celebrities really to then spread awareness on the messaging of skin health, even though celebrities did come under a little bit of flack right now on social media because of the lack of inclusivity. But if used correctly to drive awareness, it can actually get them reach. Also, what we found specifically when I talk about the Gen Z consumers was that they like to influence others. So 46% of them have shared an advert on social media with friends and family after they have watched it. What we also know about the Gen Z is that they are a very digitally savvy audience. So 23% of them have said that they've been influenced by online reviews, 14% have said they've been influenced by bloggers, and 24% have also said that they've been influenced by social media before purchasing beauty brands. Now with COVID-19 really encouraging the whole stay at home, the youth especially are spending a lot more time on online and social media. So this really tells us that brands can start investing heavily on the online and social medium to drive awareness and education. New social media tools like live streaming, Instagram Live, engaging tutorials or how-to videos can really help in spreading awareness around skin health. Brands can also take inspiration from face color cosmetics when they want to communicate inclusivity. This will especially be important again for the Gen Z consumers, as 13% have said that advertising campaigns depicting whitening products do have a negative impact on the society. We've seen face color brands like, for example, Rihanna's Fenty Beauty's Beauty for All campaign really highlight the importance of inclusive marketing or inclusive communication. So brands can actually learn and take inspiration from this to kind of capture inclusivity in their communication as well. The Gen Z also look to experts for guidance or advice. And we've seen South Korea's Dr. Jart, for example, do really well in engaging their youth demographic. They impart expert guidance through their social media posts. And what brands in India can also do is learn from this. Really use their experts info, how-to videos, or just to impart expert guidance for the Gen Z, and then eventually bring the Gen Z on board as advocates. Like we know in MINTEL's trend influentials, today consumers are far more keen on learning from other consumers than from marketers. So bringing on board Gen Z as advocates will see success for brands.
So we've told you today about the Gale strength forces in brightening. With every 1 out of 3 rupees going to brightening products, we recognize that this behemoth will take time to shift to a narrative that promotes skin health and positivity. So consider these early signals. You are risking being called out by consumers if shifts are not made. Expect more brands to reorientate to the new social norms in the coming future, and more conversation around hashtags like brown and lovely or brown is beautiful. Glow is showing signs of mainstream adoption. HUL's renaming exercise really confirms this. But what this means is that the industry needs to reach further into claims such as fresh and health to really future-proof this category. And lastly, we showed you the how, ingredients association. Use your ingredients as a strategic tool to message alignment with the new norms. Work to create those hero ingredients in the glow and even skin tone spaces. To bring it back to COVID-19, I want to talk a little bit about how those dramatic declines in the economy have taken impact on the business. We've seen usage trigger decline for brightening products. That's because consumers have less outdoor exposure, but more indoor ones to blue light, for example, and pollution. Brands must focus on multifunctional products to deliver the value that consumers need today. Concentrating innovation on staple products will really help them choose where they're going to funnel their money. But ultimately, you want to upgrade those experiences for consumers. 2-hour deliveries are going to make a lot of sense for them. And it's one way where you can bring them back to full price buying. Thank you for listening.